Okay, so we are live. I know. Okay, you're now live, it tells me. All right, guys. So hello there out there in virtual land. Please let me know when you can see me and hear me by letting me know that you can see me or hear me. And there I am. Okay, good. All right, so looking for viewers. It's big Memorial Day weekend, so I will see if I can find myself on this. We are now live. Okay, so I'm there. All right. So hopefully one of you will join someday soon. Okay. All right. So, all right, that one viewer is there. That might have been me. Hard to tell. Okay, so, Clee, all right. Happy Memorial Day to you and Angela. And you have one spiritual mind treatment. So let me know for what you would like me to do spiritual work whenever that time is right for you, because apparently people don't ask me right away. That's fine. They go, and Angela, you won too. So, all right. Each of you get spiritual mind treatment work. All right, excellent. So we're here, we're ready to go. For what should I do a spiritual mind treatment? Anyone?
Joy.
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 Fun. Clarity. Did you say equanimity? Of course you'd use a big word. What was that? Sublime peace. Right, okay. Love. Okay, so we got love, joy, clarity, equipoise. Okay, so I get a word of the day through some sort of dictionary thing, and I always think I know these words and I know how to pronounce them, but whenever I go to hear how it's pronounced, it's not how I've been pronouncing it my whole life. So I'm like, they're wrong. But it's on the internet, so there it is. Okay, so welcome Tina and Debbie, and we're ready to go. So what did we say? Love, joy, clarity, sublime poise.
Peace and fun.
Fun, joy, fun. There was something else, right? All right, that's it. That's all we get. Okay. Well, we're saying sublime peace. Equanimity. All right. Say that 3 times. Equanimity. All right. Well, joy is here. So this word is being spoken for each one. And if there is anyone you would like included, or any place on the planet, group of people that you would like included, oh, yes. Just bring them right into your heart right now and know that amongst all of us, we've got the whole world covered. And so there is something that is creating this entire universe and everything in it. And that something is seen by seeing what it does. It creates a universe of intelligence, of balance, of poise. Equipoise. And so this is real. It is present. It is at work even now. It exists. It is now breathing as this universe. It is now causing everything to move in balance, in harmony, in peace, in perfect right order, in divine right action. It is choiceless about creating itself in expression. In other words, it cannot choose to not create. It is, and it is creating that which is this universe and everything in it. It is its nature. And that inner divine motivation is love. And so it is love that is giving of itself and forever giving of itself and creating itself anew continuously. no matter how great any particular form may be, it is creating a newer, a better, a happier, a freer. And no matter how one might believe something is awful, even there, that loving presence is creating something, the newer, the better, the clearer, the greater, the more freedom, the more good. So this divine creator is omnipresent. It is in every situation, in every effect. It is first cause, and the first cause is love. And so this divine cause is everywhere, guiding each one into a freer, happier, healthier expression of itself, into a larger expression of that which it is, which is love. And that's something which is creating this entire universe out of its own love, its own substance of the all good. That one substance that is pure, wholesome, loving goodness only creates that which is good, which is harmonious, which is in perfect order and perfect right action. And this something that's creating all of this knows what it is doing. It sees itself as the cause of all that is, and this knowing is joy. And that is the joy that is present within each one. That joy of knowing that one is not a victim by anything or anyone or any circumstance. No one is a victim of anything that has been created by the divine. Because the divine is cause, first cause, pre-form cause, pure, wholesome, loving goodness, and the substance of all that has been seen, and all that shall be seen. Because this is so harmonious, so one, so complete, it is only seeking to express more of what it is. And doing this, it creates and declares it is good. And that fulfillment of creating that which began at the start is joy. Joy is omnipresent. The divine creator claiming, I am that I am. That joy is present within each one. It is more than feeling happy. It is more than having a good time. It is more than feeling comfortable. It is more than excitement or enthusiasm. It is always present. The joy of life itself expressing itself and recognizing itself in its expression. It is the denouement of the creative process, and that is present within each one, no matter where he or she is, no matter what the circumstances are. First cause is present, and in that first cause is always a way. There is always the path to move from good to greater good, peace to greater peace, harmony to greater harmony. There is never anyone or anything or any situation that can overrule or be an obstacle to the way forward of movement from good to greater good. That is true. There is no effect that can overrule that which is divinely ordained. And within each one is the gift bequeathed by the divine of declaring that which shall be in one's own personal circumstances. That gift has been given, and that gift is now recognized by each one and used by each one. Any confusion about this, any unconscious thoughts that, oh, who am I to tell God what to do, any incorrect understanding of selfishness or being self-centered is all by this word erased, evaporated, and vanished. In fact, all that the human race has labeled as guilt, wrong, bad, or shame is all erased, vanished, and gone. There is simply in God, I am that I am, and there is nothing that anyone has been godly created to be that is mixed with any badness of any kind. Each one's desire is in the heart, given to him or herself by the presence of love. No matter what anyone may have chosen in one's life, the backing behind it is first cause, that love that desires to give of itself. And so each one is now clarified about this, clear about this, claiming the goodness that God has ordained in creating each one. That declaration of the divine in creating each one is, it is very good. And that is not something that happened way back with Adam and Eve. It is something that happens right now. In this moment, the divine is creating each one and declaring it is very good. That is the divine ordaining. And each one accepts this, forever accepting oneself as the divine has created him or her. And so God has not made a mistake. And so all belief in making mistakes, all belief in wrongdoing or errors of omission or commission or sins or evil or being bad, and all labeling of such, and all allowing human opinion and judgment to dictate what is divinely ordained within someone is all erased, evaporated, and vanished. Each one is the presence of that which the divine has created. Therefore, each one is the all good. And in accepting this, each one is divinely guided to be in the right place at the right time, saying the right thing with the right people for the highest and the greatest good of all. Each one is a part of this universe. Each one belongs. Each one has a place. That place is at the right hand of God. That right hand of God is omnipresent because God itself is infinite. It has infinite right hands. So each one takes that place at the right hand of God, that honored place of being its own beloved creation. And in that place of being given the bounty of life and all of its essence, all of its nature, all of its resources, all of its powerful law to direct, given the power to choose what shall be created in one's life, being given the gift of this mind to use, all of the guidance of infinite intelligence of all that is and all that ever could be or shall be, all of this, these gifts given to each one is now consciously, peacefully, freely, and clearly using to make choices that are expressing more of each one's uniqueness. Each one is busily and happily creating an environment within which each one may thrive. Thrive at being more and more of that uniqueness that only he or she can be. And in all this, and each one finally realizing and accepting that he or she is all good. Each one is experiencing the full joy that God is itself. The joy of realizing that he or she is okay, that he or she is cause to their experience, that he or she is using the infinite mind and power of God to direct new and wonderful things, and each one is guided by the intelligence, and therefore there can be no wrong, there can be no mistakes. There is merely more and more of a joyous expression of one's own self and declaring, oh my, look what I have created. Isn't it marvelous? In fact, each one agrees with the divine, declaring that which he or she is creating to be very good. And it is. It is. The whole universe, first cause, in full, final complement, completion, extension, as each one being the creation that recognizes itself as the creator. Yes, this is the consciousness of each one. And so everything is in harmony, everything is peace, everyone is healthy, all is well, each one is fully supported, fully loved, fully joyous, fully delightful, completely guided. Each one is a success, prospering and thriving. This is good and very good. and I declare it to be so, and the law agrees, and each one accepts, and so it is done. I let it go, and so it is. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was like kind of moving around in my treatment there. All right, Reverend Rich, take us away.
I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greeny spirits of trees, and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping gleaming spirits of trees, and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes.
And so this moment we take the time to go within and declare yes to whatever we choose, to the divine, to love, to life, to power, to beauty, to joy, to peace, to clarity, whatever it is. Say yes to that which is good, and it is done.
I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greeny spirits of trees, and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes, which is yes, which is yes.
I say yes. Do you say yes? Yes. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. We are a loving, healing, inclusive community that teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the spiritual growth and well-being of ourselves and the world. And boy, that treatment that Reverend Karen just did, I am so full, right? Fully this, fully that. I am full of peace, full of love, full of harmony. Amen. I hope you all get that too.
Yes.
Yes. So a few announcements. First of all, of course, on our spiritual journey, we are here to support you. And you can call our phone number anytime and hear a recorded treatment, not only in English, but in Spanish. Thank you, Reverend Damaris. And you can request a prayer at any time. You can have an appointment with a practitioner at any time. Of course, our services are now not only in person, but virtual. And we have classes. And I have a great announcement because we have a new class coming up. And I'm very excited about it because it's called This Thing Called You. And it's based on this book by Ernest Holmes, which is yummy. Just simply yummy. It's accessible, it's nurturing, it's nourishing. And here's a small part of the description. This book, popular because of its simple format and its ability to transport one into connection with spirit, is the perfect guide for digging deeper into the concepts of co-creation, etc., etc. And the class is beautiful. And I have to share with you that during the foundations class, the 7 of us have become a very wonderful learning and loving community. We've become a learning family. And I'm sure that's the same thing that's going to happen with this next class. And the wonderful thing about this next class is it's 6 weeks. And so it's short and sweet and a loving curriculum for sure, which I will tweak a little bit based on whoever comes and what I also offer as a teacher, because we were so blessed in foundations class to have a wide array of experience from practitioners to a brand new newbie to the teaching. So I will schedule as needed extra classes to sit and chat and ask questions and go deeper into a concept that maybe you misunderstand or need more clarity about. So it's a wonderful opportunity. You can get the information ultimately on our webpage. Is it there?
Ultimately.
Ultimately on our webpage. You can also email me, and we have a few copies in the back.
And you'll put on the Facebook page.
And I will definitely put it, and I'll also put it on the Evening Inspiration Facebook page. But so what I did, just before I got up here, I said, okay, God, What does everybody want to hear today from this lovely book? I opened the page, no questions asked. After all, God guided me, and I'm going to read this just to give you an example of the juiciness of this book. And I may be wrong, but I think everybody loves it. It's like a favorite. I take it everywhere I go because it's just got these beautiful sayings and treatments and prayers. So here's what we're going to hear today. Every man's experience is an attempt to merge his own being with the eternal river, not to the loss of his identity, but to the discovery of that self which has never wholly left its heaven. Like an echo from some unknown shore, there is a voice seeking to be heard. Like clouds which obscure the mountaintops of vision, thoughts of fear and doubt that can obstruct the greater view are released and eliminated. And then he goes into this sweet little affirmation. I know that there is a presence and a perfect law, irresistibly drawing into my experience everything which makes life happy and worthwhile. I could go on, but you'll find out when you get the book and take the class. So enjoy this service. Reverend Rich, take it.
Where within you do you seek the silence? Where within you do you seek the peace? Could the answer be in the presence? Or might it just be within? Where within you do you seek the knowing? Where within you do you seek the truth? Could the answer be within the question? Or might it just be within? I close my eyes and I take a breath. I know that always within. Close my eyes and I take a breath. I know there's always within. Where within you do you seek the stillness? Where within you do you seek the peace? Could the answer be within the question? Or might it just be within? Or might it just be within? Or might it just be within?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Regina Quince, one of the spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. And I hope everyone here and watching are enjoying their Memorial Day and finding time to think about those who've given service and who are memorializing folks today. There seems to be a theme going, as always. We're all in this pool of consciousness. And as we travel through, uncomfortable situations and conditions, as some of us have in the last couple of weeks, I thought about that. And I'm going to share with you what I'm guided to do. And we have this basic spiritual mind treatment that is a part of the spiritual philosophy. And we recognize the divine, our creator. We claim our unity with it, and we allow this goodness and qualities to unfold into our experience. And then we show our gratitude for it, and we send it to Lord because we know it's done, and we close it, with and so it is. So that's the basic. That's just basic. So when you're traveling through situations and conditions, you go to the basic. And that's my recommendation to you. What I'm going to do today, so this is what I was guided to do. I love Living the Science of Mind. I purchased it, I think I have a date of 2002. And I was just guided to go to this particular essay. So I will share portions of this essay with you that focuses on two parts of the spiritual mind treatment, and that is recognition and your unification with the divine. So if there's only but so much you could do, recognize and unify. Okay? Here we go. And it's titled, God, Your Impersonal Self, I Am That Which I Am. I am that which I am. I am the eternal presence of your own self. Thus, there is no mediator, you and myself, but your own thought. This I am has been revealed to you in innumerable ways through the inspired writings of ages. Each inspiration has been a proclamation that I am is in the midst of you. I am the writer, the inspirer, and the thing written about. I am the creator of history, the one who experiences it. I am its record and its interpretation. Everything which has ever transpired has but symbolized my divine presence at the center of all. Your true self constitutes the only mediator between the visible and the invisible. I am that self. Be still and know that you are one with me and my being in your life. It is also your body, mind, and spirit. Every cell of your body, every thought of your mind, the glory of your spirit. That which you have so ardently sought has never been separated from you for one moment. My desire within you to be expressed has been the motivating power, impelling and compelling you evermore to reach out, on and up. For I am that which you are, which all people are. I am in all, and I am all. This mystery of unity and multiplicity without division I have proclaimed through the ages, but only the enlightened have understood. My meaning, the unenlightened have not realized that those who did understand me were even as they. They believed them to be great prophets, great mediators, governed by invisible masters, controlled by those whom they call saints. But since I create both saint and sinner, know neither big nor little, good nor bad, and being ageless, since I create all ages. I am that which reveals and that which is revealed. And the stone which the builders rejected has become the chief stone of the corner. The vulgar did not know, and even the high priest failed to recognize that the ark of my covenant was in the sanctuary of their own souls, that the scroll of life concealed in this ark has inscribed on it merely the words, I am. And with that, knowing the I am that each one is, I will say a brief spiritual mind treatment. Recognizing the great creator of all that is, the power, the energy, the love, all the wonderful qualities that this force has embodied in each one being united with this great creator. Each one embodying this allows the good to unfold and be personified in each one's being. Each one accepts and allows the good, the support, the comfort as each one travels through the situations and conditions that is in this world right now. And each one lifts themselves to experience the joy, the harmony, and the understanding that the divine resides in each one. Each one releases any ideas that are in contradiction to this, and each one expresses gratitude to be that unified, personified expression of the divine right here and right now. And so this word, each one embraces and sends to law happily, lovingly, and joyfully. And each one says with me, and so it is.
Because it is Memorial Day. I sing this song like way too often because I sing it whenever we have one of these atrocities. And at the heart of the song is the answer. There's a place that we can go to, whatever is creed, a place that we can go to together, you and me. A place that we can go to stand in unity, hand in hand together, for all the world to see. That place is love. That place is love. That place is love. In the consciousness of our hearts, stand in love. Now is the time we have to make a choice. Go with fear or hatred, or to give love a voice. Now is the time, standing out belief, to hold in our minds just what we want to see. I stand in love. I stand in love. I stand in love, in the consciousness of my heart. I stand in Now I truly believe that we are all one, that we can't afford the carelessness of giving hate a gun. I stand in love. I stand in love. I stand in love in the consciousness of my heart. I stand in love. We stand in love. We stand in love. We stand in love in the consciousness of our hearts. In the consciousness of our hearts. In the consciousness of our hearts. We stand in love. Reverend Christian Snow.
There you go. Well, I feel full, right? Man. Okay. I'm so distracted. I'm like ready to talk about 5 other different things than what I had thought I was going to be talking about. But let's just know that somehow what I've been guided to talk about includes all those other 5 things. Okay, so I'm inspired to use another little book I found, Collected Essays of Robert Bitzer. And this was a man contemporary with Dr. Ernest Holmes, who stood on truth, and I was blessed to hear him speak in the last decade or so of his life. He would speak, let me move this here so I can, we've got noisy air conditioners, and we've got stuff going on, all kinds of stuff going on. All right, ignore that man walking behind me. And so for the last, I would say, maybe 5 years of his presence on this planet, I started buying cassette tapes of his talks. He was the minister, the pastor of the Hollywood Church of Religious Science, and so I would order from California and have all these tapes. I probably have about 100 cassette tapes of his talks. And I got these when I was a student, even moving into ministry, but I would play them over and over and over, and I still could play them if I had a cassette tape recorder, to play it, whatever, because he spoke truth, and he just never deviated. He spoke truth. So his essays are the plain and simple truth also, and his section 1 is called Basic Principles 1, and he's got a Basic Principles 2, which I guess I'll talk about next week, and then a couple of other things. Principles expanded, principles applied, principles at work. But you may find it's all the same thing. So here's the thing, and I know I've been saying this in a lot of talks, and I know that I've been focusing on it because I need to hear it. He says, decisions give life its meaning. Your growth is the result of your conscious decisions. Adjusting yourself to situations over which you have no control does not bring spiritual growth. Such experience would develop tolerance, patience, forbearance, but it merely accepts the status quo and disallows your opportunity for conscious choice. So for some reason, I've been hearing in a louder way that if I am not consciously creating my future, what I'm hearing is I'm not growing. And I read something in Dr. Raymond Charles Barker's book, The Power of Decision, that said if you are not consciously directing your life and consciously creating something new in your life all the time, you may at some point look up and see your whole world slowly decaying around you. What? So we have this idea, I think, as human beings, because, first of all, it takes us so long to get we are consciously creating our experience. We are consciously affecting the environment that surrounds us. Because the human race teaches us, no, you're a victim, do what we say, and conform, and sit in your chair, and stop fidgeting around, right? Do this, do that. I mean, how much of our upbringing from the world, not just necessarily our parents, is to not be a bother, to not stick out, to, you're a good student. I was considered a good student. Why? I did what they wanted me to do. But was that being a good Karen? Definitely not. But I learned wisely, I learned well, and believed, right, that was the way to be. To figure out what other people wanted me to be and then to conform, to be a good person, to go along, to do my homework, and to not talk in class. But that never was who I was. And I don't think it's who anybody is. But that's how we're raised. Okay, fine. But at a certain point we call it, or used to call it, the age of reason. And this is the age that we begin exercising our right to choose. And from that point on, we're in the Old Testament, learning how to choose in a happier way. We make bad choices, all hell breaks loose, we go to crying to God, God forgives us, and hopefully we learn to make better choices in the future. And that's the Old Testament. And so in learning how to make better choices, we learn the law of cause and effect, or the law of creation, that the way things get created is you make a decision, and the law carries it out. But what I'm hearing now, and what Robert Bitzer is telling us is, mass suggestion, mass production, and mass direction take care of your needs. The law of averages is the keynote. The survival of the species, the preservation of the type, and sustaining the human race consciousness. All this changes when you become a self-conscious creator. No longer can the law of averages apply. The human race consciousness has done all it can when you become aware of your individualized expression of infinite spirit and accept your self-awareness. Everything changes. You are no longer done onto. Now instead, you do onto. And what they're saying also is you don't stop. So going back to the law of creation, back in the Bible in Genesis, right? God created this, God created that, God created this. Very busy 6 days. And on the seventh day, God rested. So how many of us rest on what we've created only 1/7 of the time? I mean, pretty much my experience is I make a new decision, I go for it, I get it, and I'm like, okay, now we rest and coast. I could coast for 20 years on some of my demonstrations, and yet the law is telling us, I mean, our highest consciousness of ministers are telling us, you got to keep creating something new, something even beyond. And yes, for me, it feels fatiguing and exhausting because I'm not using the muscles. They're all atrophied, right? They're like, let me sit on my butt. Well, no, we are creative to know. And that knowing gives us the right to create our experience, but it must be used. And what Robert Bitzer is telling us in this first section here is it must be used. If we want success, we must be knowing success. We must be actively and consciously contemplating success. And he tells us that, he says, life will manifest your self-choices. You choose what you want and demonstrate your ability to live with your choice. We choose what we want, and then we demonstrate our ability to live with what we've chosen. And your choice denotes your spiritual discrimination. We choose. And there's a responsibility to that because we are going to experience what we have chosen. So my girlfriend and I were in our annual 5-mile race yesterday down at Spring Lake. It was 3 years since our last time we did this. And because of my apparent choice to be at the back of the pack, there's 10,000 or plus people in the race, and I come in around 9,999. I crossed the finish line. Okay, there's some people behind me, whatever. But in the past, my girlfriend and I, we've crossed the finish line, and there's all this free food, free water, bagels, all this stuff. And by the time I cross the line, a lot of it's gone. And I'm like, where's the bananas? Where's the Diet Coke? Where's the bagels? It's all gone. These people, they're all, I've complained about it. And I have said out there, what does he say? Trained thinking is more effective than scatterbrain thinking. So we know I'm trained thinking, but I didn't know I was trained thinking, putting this out there. And so I have said, they ought to do something to stop people from taking more than is theirs. We have seen people like, carloads of sandwiches and walked away. And they're like, well, they should at least wait till the last person crosses the finish line, me, so that I can get my stuff. And then, everybody, then go ahead, take more than you want. So anyway, so I put that into the law. I didn't know I put that into the law, but I certainly discovered that I put that into the law when one of the volunteers came up to me and said, you should only take what you need. Apparently, they thought I was taking more than my share. And I was like, I agree with you 100%, as I walked off with all my stuff. And I'm, why did she single me out? Really, because it's like a free-for-all. People like throwing food up in the air. 10,000 people who have just run 5 miles are not in their right heads. Give them water, give them food, get them out of there. But I immediately realized I put that in the law. I caused that to happen to me. I agree with what she's saying. And what I got out of it, right? Because I get to make the decision about what my life meaning is, what that means that she came up to me. And what I thought was, aha, they're responding to what I said 3 years ago. She's trying to make sure that I get enough food. Good job. And I got enough food. So, life will manifest your self-choices. Your choice gives your direction its creative power. Choose you this day whom you will serve. And no choice is forever, but only for the period of aliveness in your desire. Life will continually let you complete your project and pursue another. But the thing is, the end of the trip is the beginning of another. And this is why we have to continue creating, right? Something new. You all know, I know you all have, the motivation and the energy that you have behind a new project. Those of you who are knitters or any kind of crafter, you know what that is. Oh, a new project. Get all the stuff, get all ready to go. And then you're in the middle of it and you're like, okay, ooh, another one. Let me go. The energy comes from the newness, the fascination. And so what we want to do is make wise choices that realizes I'm choosing this. The energy of the newness is there fueling me, but let me have the consciousness to carry it all the way through. And when we get that, when it's all done, we can let it go. And there's going to be something else new. So for 6 days, we are busy with the act of creation, let there be, and then following it through. And the 7th day, we're like, oh, good. Look at that. Look what I made. Ah. And then the next day, boom, we begin again. Continuous activity. So we only need 1/7 of the rest that we think we need. We'll be generous. Let's say 1/7 of the time I create, and the other 6/7 I enjoy. I'm being generous, right? But the activity is what we have, in other words, what we have as our potential is 6/7 knowing, creating, following through, living it all the way to the completion, and then that 7th day of look at the glory of God that I am, and enjoy it and savor it. That's how out of use our spiritual creative muscles are. Now, we have as our practitioner of the day, Regina. And as soon as I see her, I always think of this, because a few years ago, she brought her bag of index cards. And those of you who are nodding, we all remember her, and there were only some of them, and she had a carload of index cards. And she has this spiritual practice, which is everything that this teaching is about. Every morning, right, she makes a decision. She decides what she is going to know that day for herself, and she writes it down and carries it with her, along with an affirmation and stuff to support you and whatever. But that decision is the beginning of the creative process. And then the spiritual work that we do is part of the 6 days of its unfoldingness, right? Because the power is in the decision. The creative activity, the first cause, is in the decision. And then everything that follows the decision, even if you decide, okay, I want my relationship with my loved one to go better. That's the decision. Then you may be guided to call on a practitioner. You may be guided to use an affirmation to remind you of this, for the next 6 days as it is all unfolding by the law. And, but the power's in the decision. If we are not making decisions, we are nowhere near living the life that is ours to live. Nowhere near. Yes, we may be living a very nice life, right? Filled with, what does he say here? Tolerance, patience, and forbearance. How many of us say this? I'm going with the flow, right? Sounds good. I just want a peace. I just want to go with the flow. And I get that, and I'm with you. And if your life is total dramatic trauma and chaos, going with the flow is a good step. So you may be on your spiritual journey where that's your first goal, to let me be able to respond to what's going on rather than react, rather than being hysterical. You got to master that. But once we've mastered that, we also have to then go beyond and realize, okay, wait a minute. My life now that is much calmer, didn't come from nowhere. It came from my decision to have a more calmer life. So even though I'm not seeing anything, like a new monument built or something, I created something. I created a calmer experience. I certainly have done that. However, your activity of creating still exists. What am I doing with it? What are you doing with it? What are you creating now? Here's your question. What do all of you know exactly what you are busily, consciously choosing to have created in your life right now? You got your list? Regina nods. She knows what she's creating. Yes. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. It doesn't matter how long it's on your list. You know what you're doing. If you were to ask me that question, what are you consciously creating now? I would go, and right there, that tells you, honey, you're not using your creative ability to its maximum, to its ultimate. Get with the program. Get a pile of index cards or scrap paper, the other side of pieces of paper that's blank, and start every day writing down what you have decided to have created this day. And Bitzer, now, religious scientists are all over the place, and different teachers say different things, but my training, which is the Robert Bitzer way, Stuart Grayson, Dr. Raymond Charles Barker way, we believe in being specific. And he says in his very first chapter, be specific. If you're treating about money, come up with a number. Be specific. Because the law is specific. And people get very confused because they confuse being specific with outlining. So, when you are specific, you are saying, when God said, let there be light, God was specific about light. Let the light be separated so that there's dark time and daytime. God is specific about that. I am wealthy. That is very specific, and I can be even more specific by saying, and I can measure that wealth by seeing in this particular count $20,000. Oh, you're limiting yourself to $20,000. No, I'm not. Because, right? No choice is forever, but only for the period of aliveness in your desire. And so, when the 20,000 is manifested, I make a new decision that there is now 25,000 in there or 40,000 in there. But be specific. And so, if what you want is to know perfect health, yes, choose it. And also choose, and it is manifesting as I'm able to run faster, or my body is feeling better. But whatever is guided in your heart, but don't be afraid of being specific if in your heart is that desire. Don't be afraid of it. Now, outlining is saying, I want $20,000 in this particular account, and the way I'm going to get it is, my brother is going to give me some money. Fred, are you watching? That's outlining how it's going to happen. When God said, let there be light, there was a power of God that knew how to make light and the whole universe. We are using that power. So we don't have to say, I want a new home. And the home that I want is that one right there, and it has to be this price. We don't say that. We say, okay, that home looks like it. It's equivalent or better. I'm really clear. I want a red car. I'm really clear about this, but not that particular one because it's equivalent or better. So we don't have to outline how we get ourselves fulfilled, but the desire can be specific. I will be fulfilled when that $20,000 is there. And then we don't sit around, right? That's the point. We don't sit around going, good, got the 20,000, now I'll rest. Or the million. I heard of someone who decided when they get $1 million in all their accounts or whatever, then they will retire. And so that day happened for that person. They got the $1 million and they're like, oh, Well, then I retire. And so they quit. They retired. Great. I don't know that person. I just heard of that person. However, what is that person creating now? You're not done. Because you retire. How can you retire from creating? Anyone? Karen, I'm talking to myself. Retiring from creating is dying. You decided to die. Because living is creating. Not just synonyms, they're the same thing. It's the same activity. Creating is living, living is creating. I didn't come up with it. That's what these people are saying. And I knew Dr. Robert Bitzer, in my opinion, he was introduced every year. And now Dr. Robert Bitzer will speak. And he's now 97 years old. And everybody go, oh, 97 years old. Oh, and applaud and whatever. I swear, the year after. And now we have to speak with us Dr. Robert Bitzer. He's 96 years old. And everybody go, yay, 96 years old, that's so long. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's going backwards. I think what he did is hit 100 and went back the other way. Because. Why not? Who cares? And also, it always bugged me. Why are they so excited about how old he is? Aren't we all going to be that age someday? You know, what are you planning that you're so excited about that one? When are you planning on leaving? Oh, I've only got maybe 30 more years of creativity. I think I'll coast. So, he says, the power to comply, okay, we make a decision. The power to comply with your decision is within your choice. Once you have chosen, you can fulfill. Do not let yourself waver. If the going gets tough, don't indulge in regret. Reconnect the power at the decision-making point. And the greater the knowingness at that decision-making point, the greater the momentum in your demonstration. His next chapter is called Demonstrations Are Exciting. We have a lot of people this morning, and me, almost every day, treating for vitality, right? I want more vitality. Well, vitality comes from creating. It's that next new inspiring idea. The vitality is in the seed of the plant itself. That's within us. The seed of the next new idea brings its vitality and everything that is needed for us to agree. Years ago, I got into the rowing club at Carnegie Lake. You all may have remembered, if you were around then, I was talking about rowing every other day. You're probably like ready to, many of you may have put into law, will she please stop talking about rowing? So I did, because I stopped rowing. But I stayed in the club. And I volunteer or whatever, but I just couldn't get up at 5:15 in the morning and row. And I was doing all this other stuff, and my body, blah, 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 blah. But boy, I still have on my treasure map. Was that you, Deja? Led a workshop in a treasure map, creating a treasure map. Who did that? It was your class that summer. I made a treasure map, and I put a picture. This is before I ever got with a idea of rowing. I put a picture of some rowers rowing on the lake, and I want to be that, and now I am that, but I let it go. Unfinished business. So this year, a couple of months ago, a month ago maybe, I discovered there's another lake with another rowing club, and they don't row at not 5:30 in the morning. And they have other programs that meet what I want. Duh. And so I joined that other group, and I'm rowing at 9:30 in the morning in a very low stress thing where I'm just practicing the stroke, which is what I wanted to do with no extra. I just wanted to be on the lake and let me practice the stroke, let me practice the stroke, let me practice the stroke. And I'm doing it, and I had the thought, Karen, this has always been here. All these years, you were going, I wish I didn't have to get up at 5:50 in the morning. all these years, this alternative was already there. And I thought, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I make a decision that I am rowing at the perfect time with the perfect group, with the perfect situation? Why was I adjusting myself to the situation over which I have no control? Unconsciously, I was just adjusting, which was, oh, someday I'll get into the erg room. Someday I'll start again. Someday, and it just felt really bad in me. So the desire to row was still there, and I was adjusting to what I thought was the situation in the world. But hello, there was another whole situation in the world that looks like I designed it. If I had made a choice and been relative first cause to my world, this would be it. Duh. And so, I don't know what you take with this, right? But the point that Robert Bitzer makes is a constructive force governs the universe, and the same is true of the individual. And that we must make decisions and live them through until we become the manifestation of that decision. He ends. Spirit creates by becoming what it creates. You become what you think. Maintain your identity as spiritual mind. Function in the world of form, but you are in it, but not of it. Never identify with the condition, whether you call it good, bad, or indifferent. You are conscious mind moving in a world of creation. Ideas and things have no power over you. You create circumstances and situations, but they have no power over you. And so, ultimately, right, we begin with what we believe God to be. We begin with God. God becomes to you that which you believe God as being. Your personal belief must correspond to what God is. And he refers to Judge Thomas Troward, came up with these attributes of God: life, love, power, peace, joy. Meditate on these things. Think on these things. This is the answer. And in the final analysis, you can only know that which you have the necessary equipment to accept. And so, example, only the happy one can understand joy. Only the peaceful one can understand peace. So, there's a lot of life to live, right? And an infinite potential for us to create in this life. And so what we think about this day, memorializing all that we have been, all that's already been created, that's nice. But how much do you want to think about that? Maybe today is the day where you begin the first day of the creative process. And certainly, let's think about starting, as Regina does, with making some decisions and writing them down on a piece of paper. Those of you who are out there on our virtual reality, if you've got a decision you've made, write it down there in the chat. What is it that you are going to be consciously choosing to have created in your life beginning this day? So with that thought out there, let's hear from Reverend Rich, and I'll come back and do a treatment.
There's no heaven. It's easy if you try. for today. Man, there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You, and they say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Every day you'll join us, and the world will be one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, nor folk with empty hands. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. They say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
And so with all your choices there, let's see. Joaquina wrote, CSL Daily Calendar Journal is great just for deciding your day. So thank you, Joaquina, out there from California. All right, so this word is being spoken for each one to fulfill every single decision that each one has made. One mind, the mind of God, that mind of first cause, that mind that knows and creates that which it knows. This is the mind that each one is using, and each one is exercising that gift, that right to choose, and allow the law to create that which has been chosen. So each one is clear right now about what it is that they desire to see manifested in their day this day. Each one is crystal clear about it and daring to choose to be that which they desire to experience. And the law obeys. The law is already moving heaven and earth to bring to each one the fulfillment of that which they have chosen. And that which they have chosen right now is merely the beginning of all the great decisions that are to come. Each one is a wise, confident, conscious decider about what is theirs to experience in their lives, about what is theirs to become. Each one is clear, focused, and therefore filled with the vitality of these decisions. And the law makes it so, and so it is done. And I'm done. Take us away.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be one.
And we're done.
And that's the way it is. All right, thank you all for coming on this great Memorial Day weekend. We're going to go create our summers. It's fabulous. So thank you out there, Joaquina, Tina, hello, Margit, and Debbie. All right, good morning to all of you. Have a great day. Signing off.